Orns. Greetings, Watford fans, and here we are. I just wanted to say a few words. I hope you're well, first of all, and that you're having a positive day whenever you may be watching this video. I wish you very well and your family as well. I want to just say a few words here about Ben Foster. I am concerned about Mr. Foster. Ben is obviously an all around good guy and class act. He's really been a top notch professional at Watford FC. He absolutely cares about the fans 100%. He's a really good stand up person, the kind of person that absolutely puts a smile on your face and has a lot of positivity and confidence. And that's one of the reasons I really value and respect, many of the reasons I really value and respect and really admire Ben Foster. He's a stand up class act. I am just a bit worried, though, about what's happening lately on the field for Ben. He has been spectacular in some of these games thus far in this particular Premier League season for Watford FC. But there are times in games when he hasn't made those great, spectacular saves that he makes, those excellent saves that he makes, where he is susceptible to a mistake or two. And I'm noticing it even more this season than I have in any season that Ben Foster has really played at Watford. And I do concern myself with this because I have noticed in a few of these games balls that he could have done better with. And I think if you ask him, he probably, because he is the honest person he is, would tell you that he could have done better, I think, with some of the balls that have come to him and that have ended up going into the back of the net. I do think of the game at Norwich. I do think of some of the other efforts, and I just worry about him. I worry about him against Leeds as well, the game against Liverpool. I wonder about Ben, and I'm just hoping that he is focused and that he's all right because I don't know if he is focused. I mean, I bet you he is. I bet you, look, he works extremely hard. I'm not trying to absolutely do anything but give him the benefit of the doubt. I know that this guy works extremely hard with the rest of the team every day. But what I do worry about is his focus on the pitch when it comes to match day. And he has said many times that he is focused, that when he steps on between those lines on the pitch, he is locked in. That there have been times, and I mentioned some of the games just a moment ago, where I think Ben Foster could have done a little bit better with some of the balls being fired at him. So you then look at his really entertaining cycling GK that I think is just classic. It's totally classic stuff. And it's Ben Foster at his best, having a laugh, really entertaining. I think he's an excellent entertainer. And I just worry though that some of the cycling GK stuff that he does, and I wonder if that does affect him on the pitch somehow. And I wonder if he has total focus and commitment to the match day. And I'm not saying that he's someone who doesn't care about what he does in the field. He clearly does. I'm just wondering right now, given Watford and how they're doing, it's one thing if Watford are winning these games. You wouldn't have someone like me coming on here and even airing the question or the concern. I certainly wouldn't be doing that. But the fact that Watford are not in the best of places and haven't been in various parts of this early portion of the season do prompt me to raise the question about Ben Foster in goal. Now, I'm sure that I'm not the only person who has or is raising this, particularly this season. And I wonder if Ben Foster is totally committed to the Watford cause in terms of his focus. How dedicated is he between the sticks and leading up to that? How dedicated is he? Because focus is very important. And whether you're between the sticks or in the midfield or in the back four or up top in the front line, You have to have total commitment from day one to match day, recovery day to day one to match day. And I don't know if Ben Foster does, if he has time to do the cycling GK stuff. And look, again, it's really entertaining. It's excellent for the fans. But is it excellent for the team when he's on the pitch? Because I've noticed this season, and I don't know if you have, fellow Watford fan, I've noticed that he's made a number of mistakes. Now, we all make mistakes, and on the pitch, players are going to make mistakes. We're human. But it's repeating those mistakes that becomes a problem and an issue. And I think that Ben Foster, in a number of these games in the Premier League, when he started, has made a number of mistakes that I think, if Ben Foster's being honest with himself, and I know he's a trademark honest person, I think that he would have done better with. The goal against Norwich, as I said, Tamo Puki's goal, some of the aspects of the Newcastle game, although he did make a really good save late on in that game and made a couple of great double saves, made one or two of those in the second half of that game early on. So Ben Foster, look, I'm not questioning his goalkeeping skill. He's excellent. I just question, I think, a little bit. I'm concerned about his focus because the cycling GK is such an entertaining thing. I wonder if it doesn't take a little bit of focus away from what he does on the pitch. And with Watford not going as well as they could be going or should be going, at least in my view, I wonder if Ben Foster should take a little bit more time away from cycling GK. I'm not telling listen, I would never say to Ben Foster, don't do cycling GK. It's great. I love it. I'm not the only one who does. Hundreds of thousands of people love that YouTube episode and that YouTube show he does. It's just absolutely class. It's great. But I am just wondering if he should lessen the amount of time he does that, because of course during last season he had a lot of time to do cycling GK. He hardly played. He didn't really appear at all during the regular season last season for Watford. He was watching Daniel Bachmann in the number one role between the sticks for Watford in the championship last season. And so the vast majority of that season, if not all of it, Ben Foster was not in goal for Watford, certainly not in the first team for starting in the championship games. So maybe there was a bit more time to do something like cycling GK. And I know Ben Foster has started cycling GK prior to last season, but I am concerned about this because if he continues to make these kinds of mistakes, and I think the first goal against Liverpool was one that I think he could have done perhaps a little bit better on. I know it's hard because it's easy for someone like myself to sit here, for us to sit back here and watch on telly and see, well, I think he could have done better here or there. But when you've got someone world class like Sadio Mane coming at you and taking a shot at you real fast, it might be a very different proposition when you are in goal when that's happening. But yet, I do think Ben Foster could have got a hand to that somehow. There's just sometimes during this season that I've looked at Ben Foster in goal and I've seen his approach and I thought, well, I just think sometimes he's a little bit unfocused, and that just concerns me. It does. And Daniel Bachmann, who was injured, is now back to full health. I wonder, what do you think? Do you think that Daniel Bachmann should be taking the starting number one jersey at this point? Or do you think that Watford should continue on with Ben Foster? I think that Daniel Bachmann should be given a chance to start these games now. Watford don't have any cup competitions until the FA Cup, which is going to start, I think, in January of 2022. Now, I'm not on the training pitch. I don't know what's going on internally at Watford in terms of the clubhouse and in terms of the dynamic and in terms of what Claudio Ranieri, who literally has just got to Watford, wants and expects, and how he's looking at these goalkeepers and what the goalkeeping coach is assessing, et cetera, et cetera. But I do know that Daniel Bachmann, aside from the one mistake he made at Tottenham early in the season, is a pretty darn good goalkeeper. He continues to play for Austria internationally. He is a solid goalkeeper. And he's generally been very good this season, with the exception of the one mistake he made. So why not start Daniel Bachmann again? Why not start him again? I don't think you can really go wrong with Daniel Bachmann. And maybe Ben Foster perhaps needs a bit more time to reflect on some of the games that he's been playing, because I think he's made some excellent saves. I think he really is someone who cares about Watford and he cares about the fans deeply. I mean, he leads by example in that respect. But I am a little bit concerned about how much time he spends on cycling GK. And I wonder how focused he is. And it's, again, not a criticism of Ben Foster. It's just my open musing as a Watford fan. And I don't believe I'm alone in that concern. And I just wonder if Claudio Ranieri shouldn't be taking a look at Daniel Bachmann. And I think Daniel Bachmann would be an able number one for Watford. We've seen him do it before. No reason why he cannot again.